Hi there. Welcome on board for another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Coming up in this half hour, we'll be exploring the importance and process getting food handlers permit and more interesting topics you don't want to miss. So stay with us for these and more to come in this exciting half-hour journey.
Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan and this is your JS News for Monday, June 29, 2026. Jamaica and Guyana last week renewed bilateral partnerships in key sectors for mutual benefit to both countries. Talks were held on Thursday with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and Guyana's President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali. The agreement was then formalized on Friday with the signing of 4 Memoranda of Understanding, which amend protocols that were previously signed in 1995. The areas include economic, technical and cultural cooperation, agriculture, defense and security, and financial services. Dr. Holness says the MOUs represent a few of the areas of cooperation being pursued.
The breadth of our exchanges and the potential of our collaboration and cooperation is extensive. We've discussed energy, as you have seen, security, tourism, financial services, agriculture, housing, all kinds of things we have discussed, including regional and diplomatic issues. And it is clear that Jamaica and Guyana are very much aligned, and we have a similar outlook on the world, similar understanding of the changing dynamics and the new nature of global politics.
The economic, technical and cultural cooperation includes energy, housing and infrastructure, science, technology and innovation, disaster response and recovery, and climate resilience. Agriculture will focus on nutrition and food security, trade, institutional and human resource development, and advance the implementation of the CARICOM 25 by 25 plus 5 agenda. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Defence Force and the Guyana Defence Force will partner for cooperation in defence and security. Opportunities being explored are the exchange of information, standing arrangements for bilateral discussion, capacity building, and participation of multinational cooperation in international stability for peace and security. And finally, Jamaica and Guyana finalized financial partnership aimed at promoting the enhancement of financial infrastructure and systems, capital markets, modernization of financial services, and institutional strengthening and capacity building. Guyana's President Mohamed Irfan Ali says extensive work was placed on producing the MOUs.
Both of us share the ambition of having efficient governance, efficient implementation, and delivering services where our people can enjoy the experience of having those services. Services that allow the citizens to feel as if they are valued. And that is important for both of us.
Dr. Holness headed a Jamaican delegation to Guyana for a 2-day state visit under the theme Guyana-Jamaica Strategic Partnership Dialogue, with a focus on advancing regional food security, prosperity, innovation, and security. A tourism supply logistics center is to be established to serve as the operating system for the supply side of the tourism economy, facilitating expansion of the industry and wider economy. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the center will be the 5th industry-specific Special Economic Zone under the Special Economic Zone SEZ Act 2016.
So the government has already established the SEZ and the logistics center. And tourism intends to be the first included in that facility there.
The tourism minister says an agreement has been reached with the Ministries of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining to collaborate in bringing the project to fruition. Among other things, the Tourism Supply Logistics Center will support coordination, warehousing, cold chain capacity, and inventory planning. It will connect tourism corridors, sea and airports, farms, factories, packhouses, agro-processors, manufacturers, and community producers into a more reliable and efficient supply network.
This is how, Madam Speaker, we are going to move the small businesses from the margins of tourism value chain into the center of tourism opportunity.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness has launched 2 new digital initiatives aimed at improving the prevention and management of chronic non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and hypertension. The initiatives are part of the Health System Strengthening Program. One of them is Chronic Care Connect, a patient-centered pilot system that links patients with healthcare teams through coordinated care, education, nutrition support, exercise programs, and digital health tools. The second initiative is the Jamaica Moves app, which allows users to monitor blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and physical activity from their smartphones. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the technology is designed to help Jamaicans take greater responsibility for managing their health.
One of the underlying principles of this approach is embracing technology. And it's so important that we recognize that a big part of our task is going to get Jamaicans to embrace the technology.
The Jamaica Moves app also provides users with personalized health tips and progress reports. Chronic Care Connect is being piloted in 6 health centers with plans for island-wide expansion if successful. Both initiatives are expected to improve patient engagement and help reduce the burden of lifestyle-related diseases across Jamaica. Delinquent motorists who owe outstanding traffic fines have been given until September 30 to clear their arrears as the government prepares to re-implement the demerit point system. Speaking at a press briefing last Thursday, Minister of Transport Darrell Vaz revealed that more than 1.1 million unpaid tickets remain on record, alongside 118,000 tickets recently issued by the authorities. He says the reintroduction of the demerit point system is part of efforts to reduce traffic violations, improve driver accountability, and save lives on Jamaica's roads.
The demerit point system is designed to address these challenges by promoting compliance with the Road Traffic Act and deterring repeat offenders. It is not intended as a punitive measure, but as a road safety tool that encourages responsible driving and helps reduce dangerous behavior on our roads.
Under the Road Traffic Act 2018 and Road Traffic Regulations 2022, the demerit point system stipulates that if a driver accumulates 10 or more demerit points within a 15-month period, it triggers a mandatory license suspension.
The amendments also enhance our modern framework for electronic traffic enforcement by adopting technology-neutral standards, strengthening the use of camera evidence, expanding the method of service of notices to not only utilize electronic means, but for the use of non-electronic means for those who may not have access, clarifying owner liability, and updating vehicle safety standards.
Minister Vaz is urging motorists to settle their outstanding traffic tickets before the September 30 deadline. Jamaica is set to host the 13th Our Oceans Conference in 2029. This is the largest conference that deals with ocean protection and the blue economy outside of the United Nations Conference. It is expected that about 5,000 delegates will be in attendance, with approximately 12 world leaders and 50 delegations at the ministerial level.
This is a major event that establishes Jamaica's thought leadership on the issue of marine protection and the issue of developing a sustainable blue economy. It validates a lot of the work that Jamaica has been doing in tourism, in fisheries, in shipping and logistics, and of course our work in environmental protection.
The Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change made the announcement at last week's post-cabinet press briefing. He also gave some updates on his participation at the recent Our Oceans Conference held in Mombasa, Kenya. Minister Samuda highlights that Jamaica signed with and joined the Caribbean Ocean Coordination Mechanism, the Ocean Acidification Alliance, the Action in Blue Regional Network, and the Mangrove Breakthrough,
which is managed by an alliance which is chaired by Colombia and Jamaica in understanding its need for support in protecting its mangroves, especially along the south coast where we are exposed to heavy storm surge in times of storms and have low coastal defenses, has joined this breakthrough and will be working with partner nations and institutions to ensure that we step up our work in mangrove protection and indeed restoration.
And finally, the Ministry of Education will be establishing a boys' committee to come up with strategies to improve the achievement of male students. The move comes as the results of the 2026 Primary Exit Profile PEP show that girls continue to outperform boys. Speaking at the recent PEP press conference at Jamaica House, Portfolio Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon said the committee would be chaired by Parliamentary Secretary Marlon Morgan.
The performance of our boys is something that we have to talk about as a country. We cannot be failing them in this way. They're doing better than they were before, but they're still nowhere near where we want them to be. And it's for that reason why I'm putting together a boys committee to look at simple wins around how we can try things differently.
School leaders are also being encouraged to try new approaches and report successes to the ministry so they can be scaled to other schools. Meanwhile, Senator Morris-Dixon says the ministry is advancing plans to merge Hydel High School with Cumberland High. She explains that the move is being considered due to infrastructure challenges at Hydel and low student enrollment at Cumberland.
For some time now, the ministry has been paying the teachers, we've been paying all of the bills for that institution. And the plant is not in the best of state. So there are lots of issues with where it is. It is also a property that is rented. And so we had a high school where many of the children who go to that school, they also live near to that, that had less numbers than we want. I remember going to that school and walking around and seeing tons of empty classrooms. So it was operating well below its capacity.
The Education Minister says combining the schools into a single facility will allow for more efficient use of resources and better learning conditions for students. Consultations with teachers, parents and community stakeholders are to continue as the ministry works through the proposed merger. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.
Your food handler's permit certifies you've met food safety standards that are important to safeguard health and maintain quality within commerce. Everyone handling food destined for public consumption is required to have one. We'll learn more in this feature.
Juicy, buy a juice from me now.
A cool bag juice sounds just about right, but do you have a permit? Whether you're selling juice on the corner, baking gizadas at home, or running a full-service restaurant, there's one thing every food operator in Jamaica must have: a food handler's permit. Issued under the Public Health Food Handling Regulations, this permit is mandatory for anyone involved in preparing, serving, transporting, or handling food across the island. And here's why.
It means that you would be in conformance with the Public Health Food Handling Regulations. And so it is important that persons make their application so that they can get the requisite training in an effort to ensure that the foods that are offered to the public are safe, wholesome, and free from any form of contamination.
So, how do you apply for a food handler's permit? It's easier than you might think.
It is quite simple. It's a simple process. You would need to complete the prescribed application form. You would also be required to submit 2 passport-size photographs. In addition, you are expected to pay the requisite application fee, which is $500. You will be given an appointment date and time to visit one of our venues for the training session to be interviewed and to sit a test.
For applicants in the Southeast Regional Health Authority parishes, a TRN may also be needed for tracking your application.
The persons who apply for food handlers permits would normally be screened. A series of questions would be asked for the health interview, and this is to ascertain the health status of the applicants, because anyone who acquires a food handler's permit would be deemed to be fit and proper to handle food, prepare food, serve food for human consumption. And as such, these persons have to meet the requirements on the medical interview. Once you are successful in completing the process, then you'll be able to get your food handler's permit. On average, it would normally take 6 weeks or thereabout from application to acquiring the food handler's permit. In some cases, particularly in the other parishes outside of Southeast, it would take a much shorter period of time. However, it can take longer whenever we have challenges, but we try our endeavor best to ensure that employers who need to know that their employees have completed the process successfully are provided with a letter which is temporary.
My food handler's permit does help me, because when I do events like these, or even when I go to like Hope Gardens, first thing first, the public health inspector come around, hey chef, you have your food handlers? I say, yes man, here it is. And I pop it out just like this and show them my food handlers is up to date, legit, and ready to go. The inspectors are required to monitor food handling establishments at least twice yearly. We would normally certify the businesses, and once the businesses are certified, then we would do an additional assessment or inspection to ensure that they are operating in accordance with the public health food handling regulations. But you have to bear in mind too that resources are limited, and as such we have to do risk ranking, where we focus and monitor more frequently high risk operations, medium risk operations. For low risk operations, they are not neglected, they are also monitored, but certainly not as frequently as we would monitor high risk and medium risk operations.
High-risk establishments are those directly involved in serving, preparing, or handling potentially hazardous foods such as milk, eggs, cheese, fish, and various meats like chicken, beef, pork, and goat. Low-risk establishments, on the other hand, are those that sell prepackaged or sealed items such as peanuts, bottled water, and confectionaries.
If it is that persons would have committed violations, we would seriously have to consider the nature of the violation and the type of violations committed, and whether or not the person has been rehabilitated. And as such, each case, each situation would have to be dealt with on its own merit.
So, how to get the application form to become certified?
The application form is online. It may be downloaded from SARA's website, Southeast Regional Health Authority's website. It may also be downloaded from the website of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and completed. However, applicants would still need to visit the local health department in order to apply, because you'll be given an appointment date and an appointment time, and you're expected to return on that day and at the required time to be interviewed.
Having a food handler's permit isn't just about compliance. It builds trust with your customers and ensures you're ready for any health inspection that might come your way. Don't take chances. Get certified, stay compliant, and help keep Jamaica's food safe.
Diabetes is a chronic health condition and a leading cause of kidney failure, but with lifestyle changes can be controlled. Up next, President of the Diabetes Association tells us about its cause, impact, and how to control this illness.
It is deadly. People have a way of saying, oh, I have a touch of sugar. And I try to explain, it's not a touch, it's a big lick.
Diabetes, a chronic medical condition that affects how the body processes blood sugar or glucose. Glucose is an essential source of energy for the body's cells, but to use it properly, the body needs insulin, a hormone produced by the pancreas. Diabetes occurs when the body either doesn't produce enough insulin or can't use it effectively, leading to high blood sugar levels.
It doesn't cause a lot of dramatic signs in the first instance, but then it, like a hammer, it just comes down on you. And at that point, organs begin to fail and the quality of life starts to fall.
Generally, there are two types.
What you call the type 1, which is where the body is not producing this hormone called insulin that really drives all the nutrition into the body cells. So if the body is not producing it, then everything accumulates and will give you the problems of diabetes. And you have to manage that by putting back that hormone insulin. And that little hormone is a protein, so you can't swallow it. Okay? It has to be given by injection.
And the most common?
Type 2 is over 95% of the total diabetes population. And this is where insulin is being produced, in the body, but it's not working right. The tissues are not responding to it, or when it gets there, it is not working in the way in which the nature's pathways have set it up to work, to bring in the sugars and the fats and so on into the cells. So that is the type 2. So what we try to do is assist the body to get it to respond better to the insulin. So quite often that assistance may be by way of oral medications, tablets and so on.
But there is another type, some would say.
During pregnancy, women now undergo increased what you call body changes, and that can bring out the underlying diabetic problem. Interestingly, at the end of the pregnancy, after the delivery of the infant, the blood sugars drop dramatically back into the normal range. That is called gestational. That is during pregnancy.
But even those mothers have to take care, because within a few years, they too may develop the condition, and their children born in such condition of gestation diabetes are at risk. So what can persons suffering from diabetes do to manage the condition?
They need to eat less in terms of quantities and spreading it out. Okay? Small amounts during the day. Right? Avoid too much starches. When you say starches, the yams and the potatoes and the banana and those things. And oils, fatty foods, fried foods. Avoid that in the evening. And a Caribbean thing, when you come home in the evening, that's when you have the big dinner. Stop it. Have your big meal at lunchtime. When you come home in the evening, have something lighter, vegetable salad, that kind of thing. Because you don't want to go to bed soon, digesting starch, because your sugars are going. You're not up and about to work it off, so the sugars rise, settle in the blood vessels and cause trouble. So it is the kind of lifestyle that is key.
A strategic diet must be accompanied by physical activity.
When I say physical activity, it's deliberate because it's not necessarily exercise where you go to the gym and profile. As I tell them, you walk even around your bed. Just keep moving for about a half an hour, non-stop. Every day, I have to remind them you have diabetes on the weekends too, you know. So don't tell me about you doing it Monday to Friday.
And these should never be taken for granted. If left untreated, diabetes can lead to complications like heart disease, kidney damage, and other life-threatening conditions.
When you eat and drink, and the body absorbs those nutrients, it gets into the bloodstream. And the bloodstream now takes these nutrients to all the tissues in the body, where they are helped to be taken up in the tissues. In the diabetes situation, they are not being taken up into the tissues. So they stay in the bloodstream and accumulate. There are sticky substances, acids and fats and all of this. And they stick to themselves and stick to the walls of the blood vessels. So when the blood vessels get narrower and narrower due to the sticking, then you'll find the circulation through the organs reduces and problems begin. So the quicker you can act to try and reduce that accumulation, the better. Quite often you can't reverse it, you know, but you can slow it down, which is what we're trying to do. Okay, so early intervention is key. And early intervention comes with beginning to recognize that the condition is there from early.
For more information, visit your doctor and let them know your concerns.
What's really inside your child's drink? Let's count it out. A 600 milliliter soda can contain 15 to 20 teaspoons of sugar, but the recommended daily allowance for children ages 2 to 18 is less than 6 teaspoons. And that 450 milliliter box drink, it can contain 12 to 15 teaspoons of sugar. Children under 2 should have no added sugar at all. So instead of reaching for sugary drinks, encourage your children to drink water, because when you know what's in the drink, making healthier choices is easy.
Our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine ends right here for today. Be sure to join us again tomorrow on this same station for more information you can use to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and of course, retire in paradise. In the meantime, we invite you to visit our website at jis.gov.jm for this and other offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Until next time, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.